Hi, welcome back. This is part 2 of my little mini series of So You Think Judge Bev is Bad? Let me tell you about Judge Glanville. And of course, I'm talking about a different trial, right? I am talking about the YSL Young Thug trial that took place in Atlanta. It's actually going on the exact same time as the first Karen Read trial. And the embarrassing thing about it was that I was covering Karen Read thinking, oh my God, this is such a sham, and didn't realize in my own backyard, like I live here. And I didn't even realize this trial was going on, largely because the guys on trial were young rappers. And I don't know. Look at me. Do I look like I know anything about rap? I am an old white suburban lady, but I'm watching videos and I'm seeing things like coverage on the news and I'm thinking, holy shit, these guys are getting railroaded. I didn't know a lot of the details. And I know that there are rappers who named himself Young Thug, right? There's a certain street cred that comes along with kind of being a bad boy. I get that. But when I'm looking at what the prosecution's putting forth as evidence, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, these guys aren't getting a fair trial. And there were some things that they were accused of that they might have done. They might have been in possession of guns and drugs and done bad things. They might have. But you would never find that out if you're not having a fair trial. This is Judge Earl Glanville. And I know he looks like a smiling, sweet old man, but let me just tell you, in my opinion, he's a corrupt motherfucker. And he turned this thing upside down. And where it really started to fall apart was in June of 2024. The trial had started in November. So we're already a full 6 months in. He's been involved in this case from the very beginning. He presided over all the jury selection and now 6 months of trial. But what happens on June 10th pretty much changes the course of this entire thing. A prosecution witness by the name of Lil Woody, who they put all the eggs in this basket, he refuses to testify on Friday, June 7th. He's like, nope, I plead the 5th. I'm not talking. Judge Glanville finds him in contempt and puts him in jail for the weekend. On Monday, June 10th, Glanville holds an ex parte conversation in his chambers. Now, this is supposed to include everybody, but for some reason, they invite the defense. And we find out later, based on transcripts, what really happened in that room, but essentially it's the judge, it's the prosecution, it is Lil Woody, it's his lawyer, and there's a couple of sheriff's guys, like guards, in the room. That's it. They basically bully Woody, say, you've accepted immunity, you have to testify or you're going to go to jail. For the rest of that entire morning session, Woody is being just belligerent. Nope, I plead the 5th. He's yesing, yes, no. He's saying, I don't know, I don't remember. Like he's really being a horrible witness. Lunchtime rolls around. Right after lunch, the defense attorney gets up there and he says, Judge, I file a motion for mistrial because I understand you had an ex parte conversation this morning and you didn't include the defense. Shot heard around the world. Earl Glanville has been found out and he's pissed. The lead defense attorney, Brian Steele, refuses to tell the judge where he heard the information, which means the judge has a rat. Someone left that room and went and ratted to the defense. So he decides to hold the defense attorney in criminal contempt because he won't reveal his source. And he sentences the defense attorney, the lead defense attorney, in this situation being Bev and Alan Jackson, sentences him to 20 days in jail because he won't reveal the source. And because he has to be there every single day in court, Monday through Friday, it's going to be 10 consecutive weekends in jail. And Brian, nerves of steel, just says, great, can I go ahead and be locked up with my client so we can work all weekend? Brian Steele is not backing down and he's not given the name. There's an appeal filed on behalf of Brian Steele by another defense attorney appealing to the Georgia Supreme Court to overturn the criminal contempt charge. So that's filed with the Supreme Court. On Wednesday, June 12th, the Supreme Court, like this is an emergency, the Supreme Court comes back and they go, okay, we're going to grant Brian Steele bond so he doesn't have to go to jail like this coming weekend while the contempt charges are being appealed. Kayla Bumpus, who was Lil Woody's attorney, she got fired that same day or quit that same day, something. They had a falling out. But anyway, allegedly, she was the one that went and told Brian Steele and about the ex parte meeting. She files a motion to quash that show cause hearing because she's like, I'll be damned if you're going to call me in and put me under oath and ask me if I'm a rat to talk to somebody about something you never should have done in the fucking first place. And the co-defendants are in here too. So co-defendant Diamante Kendrick, he goes by Yak Gotti. He has a hell of an attorney. His attorney files for an emergency writ of mandamus with the Georgia Supreme Court, which is basically the Hail Mary nuclear option. Glanville needs to be fucking stopped. This is like the break glass in case of emergency procedure. There are 3 things that are asked of the Supreme Court. 1, please just give us a third party, unbiased judge to hear these motions. Like, we need a judge that will listen to the motions for mistrial and for recusal and not let Judge Glanville sit in judgment of himself. The second piece is that we want an unredacted copy of the transcript that happened in that meeting. By the way, the court reporter was in there too. Just forgot to mention that. We want the transcript. And the third thing is that we just want to stay in the proceedings. Like, we want to pause in this trial long enough to work out our issues with Judge Glanville. He wants a show cause hearing, wants to do the side hearing. There's a hearing for the attorney in contempt. Like, this all, the actual trial has to stop until all of this fucking nonsense gets taken care of. That's all they asked the Supreme Court for. And at this point, it's become a media circus. So I think the spotlight on Glanville forced him to do a couple of things. So the first one is he says, okay, I'm okay if these motions are heard by a third party. Like, I would be okay with that. And he asks his colleague, Judge Rachel Krause, to come in and hear the motions. He also says, I'm going to cancel the show cause hearing because in, I guess, hindsight, he realizes finding the rat who ratted him out for doing something he shouldn't have been doing in the first place is really probably a bad use of the taxpayer's time. But he also manages to throw in security video tells me who did it. The security video shows Kayla Bumpus talking to Brian Steele. And I got to be honest with you, I think she did the right thing. And then he says, okay, and I will release the unredacted transcript from the ex parte meeting. But it's too little, too late. Judge Krause rules the following. On the motion that's filed by Yak Gotti / Diamante Kendrick's attorney for Glanville to recuse himself, that's granted. Glanville's out. Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, also sent a motion in to not only recuse him, but to completely disqualify Judge Glanville from all further dealings with the above referenced case. Granted. Attorney Kayla Bumpus's motion to quash the show cause hearing, that's basically denied as moot because he's already canceled that hearing. And Judge Krause rules that the Fulton County clerk will reassign another judge to this case. And what happened afterwards? Well, I'm sorry, that's another video. So if you got to come back, I'm out of time. If you want to hear what happened after, please come back. If you don't, I totally understand.